Today, we are going to be adding and subtracting rational expressions. Before we get started, I'm going to remind you guys of what we learned a long time ago in elementary school. Can I add these fractions together to get 1/7 or 2/7? No, why not?
Because they don't have the same.
They don't have the same denominator.
Exactly, they do not have the same denominator. So what should I do so that I can add these? What will I do?
By 3.
Yep, the numerator and the denominator will be multiplied by 3. This one will be multiplied by what? 4. You guys can do that. What else could we have multiplied by? Actually, no, that's good. All right, so 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. 1 times 4 is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Now that the denominators are the same, we call this common denominators. The denominator, you'll just carry it over and you'll add the numerators to give you 7. Okay? This works with addition and subtraction. You can also subtract these two fractions to get -1. Make sense? Okay, in order to add and subtract fractions, you have to get the same denominator. In the same way, when you're adding and subtracting rationals, you have to get the same denominator. Okay? So let's look at these first examples. This example, the denominators are the same, so we'll just carry it across. 13a plus 5a is 18a. Now let's simplify. 18 and 4 can both be divided by 9. I'm sorry, by 2 to give you 9/2 with an a. Does everyone see why I have a in the denominator? Okay, great. Next one, our denominators are the same. We're going to subtract this time. This is 9x minus 7x. That is 2x. Then I have 12 minus 2, which is 10. We are subtracting this entire fraction, this entire rational. Okay, I see a lot of people make the mistake, they only subtract 7x and then they'll say 12 plus 2 is 14. That's wrong. This subtraction goes to both 7x and the 2. We're subtracting the entire thing. Okay. All right, now we can simplify. I can divide both of these by 2 so that it will be 2 on the outside and an x plus 5. Right? 2 times x will still give you 2x. 2 times 5 is still 10. So we just rewrote it. And this is over 16. Now this can be simplified. 2 divided by 2 is just 1. So I'll be left with x plus 5 in the numerator. 16 divided by 2 is 8. So this is your simplified answer. Now these type of problems, the denominators are not the same. So let's look at number 7. What should I multiply by so that the denominators are the same?
3.
Good. This one will multiply it by 3s. And here we'll multiply them by 2s. So my new problem, 3 times 15 is 45. 3 times 2x is 6x. Minus 16 times 2 is 32. 3x times 2 is 6x. Now the denominators are the same. Just carry over the denominator. 45 minus 32 is what? Nice. And that won't simplify. Number 8, my denominators are not the same. What do I need to multiply by?
8.
Yep, this one needs an 8. They're almost the close. Yep, it needs an a. So let's see what we have now. 8 times 4 is 32 with an a. We have 8a squared minus 7a over 8a squared. Now that my denominators are the same, just carry the denominator over and combine your numerator. 32a minus 7a is what? 25a. And this can be simplified to 25 over 8a. The reason being, I have an A in the numerator and I have two A's in the denominator. Those cancel, leaving me with just a single A in the denominator. That's why. Okay. Let's move on to the next page and look at some examples. Okay, this example, our denominators are not the same. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna factor the denominator. Guys, whenever we're adding and subtracting, ignore the numerator. The numerator does not matter. In the beginning, it does not matter. Only focus on the denominators. Okay, I see a lot of people start off this problem by trying to factor the numerator. You don't have to do that yet. Do not worry about the numerator. Let's just focus on the denominator. Okay, so I'm gonna do an eye chart here. I need two numbers that multiply to 6, add to 5. Good. 3 times 2 is 6, 3 plus 2 is 5. So I'm gonna rewrite this problem. I have x plus 3 and x plus 2 as my denominator. Okay. What do I need to put in the denominator so that they're the same? Yep, it's missing an x plus 3. Now my denominators match. They both have an x plus 2 and an x plus 3. Whatever you do to the bottom, you must do to the top. Just like the previous examples. Since they're the same, just copy it over. This is my denominator. Now you can worry about the numerator, okay? So what I have is x squared minus 5 plus 1 times x is just x. 1 times 3 is just 3. From here, we can combine like terms. I'll have x squared plus x, but negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. Now you can worry about factoring the numerator. You don't have to factor the numerator in the beginning. Wait until the end. So I need two numbers that multiply to negative 2, add to 1. Negative 1 and 2. Yep, that works. So let's rewrite this denominator. This numerator. X minus 1 times x plus 2. And the denominator is still the same. Do you guys see what cancels out? Yep, those cancel. So this is your final answer. All right, let's talk about number 13. My denominators are not the same. What should I do? What do you think? What should I multiply this one by? Good, w plus 1. And so that they match, what should I multiply this one by? Yep, w minus 7. I ran out of space. It's not letting me write it. Okay, I'll write it over here. W minus 7 and w plus 1 will be this denominator. All right, plus all right, now my denominators are the same. I'm trying to squeeze a w right there. Won't work. This one needs a w minus 7. Okay. All right, now my denominators are the same. So what we're gonna do, I'm just gonna copy my denominator. Now we're gonna combine the numerators. Well, 5 times w is 5w. 5 times negative 7 is negative 35. 8 times w is 8w. 8 times 1 is 8. Combine like terms. So 5w and 8w, 13w. Negative 35 plus 8, negative 27. And the denominator just stays the same. That's your answer. All right, let's look at number 14. How do I make the denominators the same? Yep, this needs a b plus 3. What does this one need? A b. So put b's there and b plus 3 there. All right, guys, you just copy down the denominator, combine the numerators. Now, I need you guys to remember, this will be b squared. B times b is b squared, and you're subtracting both of these. So think of this -4 being distributed to both. So this will be -4b minus 12. Last class, I saw a lot of people putting a plus 12 because they only subtracted the first one. They didn't subtract the second one either. Yes, 4 times 3 is 12, but remember, we're subtracting. So that's a minus 12. And your denominator will just stay the same. From here, guys, you can factor now. Factor that numerator and you'll see what cancels out. Okay, I'm gonna pause here. I'm gonna challenge you guys to try number 15 and 16.
Hey, gnarly, bro.
All right, so guys, when y'all factored this, you guys figured out that nothing really cancels out, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, guys, so factor this denominator. We can rewrite this as 4 and what?
P minus 5.
Good, p minus 5. This one, we're gonna do an eye chart. Two numbers that multiply to 15 add to -8. Perfect. Okay, so this will be written as p minus 5 and p minus 3. Okay, so let's look at this. What is this first one missing? This one needs a 4, right? What does this one over here need? A p minus 3. So that means my denominator will be 4 times p minus 5 and p minus 3. So since I put a p minus 3 with this one, I also need to put a p minus 3 in the numerator. And I also need to put a 4 in the numerator for this one. Now that my denominator is the same, now you can focus on the numerator. So 2 times p is 2p. 2 times -3 is -6. 4 times p is 4p. 4 times -6 is -24. And we're gonna combine like terms. So 2p and 4p, you should have gotten 6p. -6 minus 24 is -30. This denominator is gonna stay the same. We're not gonna copy it all down. Can we rewrite this numerator? Tell me.
P minus 5.
Good, p minus 5. Okay, so I'm gonna write down my denominator again. P minus 5, p plus 3, or minus 3, sorry. Okay, so guys, that cancels. What's left over is your answer. But hold on, can we simplify a little further?
4 P 3 over 2.
Yes, we can divide both by 2. So it'll be 3 over 2. There you go. So that is the answer to number 15.
You don't distribute it.
If you want to distribute the 2, you can. It wouldn't be wrong. So if you distributed it, you would get 2p minus 6. And that's also good. All right, number 16, did you guys factor these? I'll do this in blue. I'm just gonna get you guys set up. This can be written as 2 times, tell me.
R.
Good, r plus 4. This one over here can be written as r times what? R plus 4. Do you guys see what's missing? What does this first one need? An r. So I'm gonna put r's. What does this one need? A 2. Okay, now you guys can do the rest. Yes, you can. Okay. Okay, so my denominators are the same, so I'm just gonna copy down the denominator. Now we combine the numerators. This is 1 minus 16a squared. Guys, let's write this in standard form. The negative 16a² should come first and the 1 should come last. Okay, now I want to factor this, but whenever you factor, you don't want your first term to be negative. So I'm just gonna multiply this whole numerator by a -1. So this will become, or I'm gonna pull out a -1. Divide them all by a -1. So if you divide this -16 by a -1, you'll get a positive 16a². You divide this by a -1, you'll get a -1. Do you guys see how I'm rewriting the numerator? I can get back what I started with. Let me show you. I can get back what I started with. -1 times 16a² is -16a². -1 times -1 is a +1. This is how I'm rewriting the numerator so that I can factor it. Okay, now you can either do an eye chart or you can do the square root method. The square root of 16a² is 4a. So you'll get a 4a and a 4a plus 1. That's how you can rewrite the numerator. If you wanted to do the eye chart method, I'll show you that way as well. You need two numbers that multiply to -16, add to 0. That's 4 and -4. Because you do slide and divide. 16 times -1 is -16. So these are your factors. It would be x plus 4 and x minus 4. Then you divide them both by 16 and you'll get x plus 1/4. X minus 1/4. Then you bring the bottom to the front. So this will be 4x plus 1 and 4x minus 1. So that matches this. Sorry, I use x's and not a's. So you can either use the slide and divide method, or you can just do the square root method, where you take the square root of both numbers. Okay, so now that we're here, how can we rewrite this denominator?
4, 3, or 3a, or 4a.
-1, yes. 3 times 4a will give you this 12a, 3 times -1 will give you this -3. So we can rewrite the denominator as this one, okay? So let's write our whole problem. I'm gonna write it over here. We have -1 times 4a minus 1, 4a plus 1. And in the denominator, we have 3 times 4a minus 1. That cancels with that. Your answer is -4a plus 1 over 3. And of course, guys, if you wanted to, you can distribute this negative in. So you can also write it like this, -4a minus 1 over 3. You can also do it like this, where you distribute the negative.